Hi, welcome to Gruber Power Hour. I'm Janie.
I'm Nicole.
And we have a guest with us today.
Lenny!
Lenny's been on previous shows, so he's experienced.
Yes, very familiar face.
That's right. Well, today's show, we've got a couple different things going on. But to get the show started, Nicole and I have special shirts that we're wearing. Hold on, let me turn around.
Oh, yep. Here we go.
Kindness is always free.
Got it.
There we go. Good job. And this is courtesy from the Highlander, from Highlander Apparel.
We clearly didn't rehearse that. We're sorry.
No need for rehearsals. Anyways, but so the Highlander's going to join us at our show on the show
In a little bit.
in just a little bit. So that's
The
exciting.
countdown begins.
That's right. But to start out the show, something that I've wanted to do for a while now is walk through and see what they do, what you guys do when you open these up. And this in particular, I'll go ahead and let you tell us what this is and what it's used for.
Okay, so this is a SYBTU2 battery module. This is utilized in our PX, our APC PX frames, anywhere from 10K up to 100K. So this will go in the actual power cabinet or an extended battery cabinet. But this itself is considered a complete battery module.
Okay.
And then inside are the batteries as far as the packs. Okay. So a lot of people think that this whole thing is the actual battery, but this is actually the module as a whole, and then inside are the batteries themselves.
So we've got the casing along with the batteries. And this is a very common battery module that he's used.
Yes, APC, like I said, APC uses it for their PX model, and everything. So it is a common battery for us, along with like the LX batteries, but the LX batteries are side by fives. They're a little bit more intricate as far as how the wiring is done. So I thought for demonstration purposes, this will be a little bit easier for us. Going through it and why. But what we want to also focus on is why it's wired the way it is, not just, okay, it goes in like this, you take this out, you take it apart, this is how you put it back together. But why is it wired a certain way?
Right, and that's when it's in a series or parallel and how it's wired. Okay.
So,
well, excellent. Let's start opening it up. What do you do when you get one in, when you receive one in?
The first thing we actually look for, and our battery guys are the real experts on these, Tay and Hong, they actually just every day, they're just like robots going through these. But you want to look for any physical damage to the case itself, because obviously if there's physical damage, you want to be able to either do sheet fabrication work on the metal, or if you need to replace a connector or a pin or something. So you want to look for anything that's as far as any dents or bends or breaks or in the case itself, actually the connector, the back connector to it, the power connector. And then also you want to look for corrosion. Batteries leak. So you want to make sure, and that's why you want to wear gloves too, because you don't want, if something is leaking, battery acid or something like that is leaking out, you want to look for any corrosions coming out, because you want to be a little bit more safer dealing with that. But also you want to make sure that has it eaten through anything? Is it salvageable? Can it be cleaned off? Because sometimes the acid, even with this being a steel casing, it'll still eat through it.
That's what I was wondering, to compromise the metal.
It can compromise a little bit, which means because batteries get hot, so it can compromise within the system too. It doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. So that's what the other thing you want to wear your gloves. Plus, you got sharp edges. You're dealing with metal and everything, so you don't want to cut yourself. But like I said, you want to look for any leaks or breaks.
Safety first, guys. That's why we're geared up here. Safety first.
With the rubber, so that we don't get poked by the edges.
It's a neoprene. It'll actually anything adheres to it, grease, oil, everything else to it.
Keep it off my face.
There goes the makeup.
Sometimes.
And also, since we're talking about that, I just want y'all to know we're about 50 to 75 pounds lighter than we look on TV. I just want to tell y'all.
Is that your disclaimer?
It's my disclaimer. I've been meaning to tell y'all that for a long time. I watched one of our videos and I was like, holy great. We are not that big, y'all. We promise.
Welcome to our podcast.
Neither is Lenny. I'm just telling you.
I don't know. I saw on scale this morning. I was like, yeah, gone are those military days.
Scale.
So,
What's the
like
scale?
we do often, Nicole and I have our disclaimer.
Yes.
Nicole and I know the processes, the inner workings, and how to service our customers when a customer comes to us. We know who to go to, how to take care of them, and it's the technical aspect that we go to pros like Lenny internally to find out, how it is that we do what we do when we provide the services that we're performing.
Exactly.
There you go.
Leave it to the expert.
That's right. Okay, so what would we do here with this one?
So what we're going to do now is move this out of the way here so I don't break anything. So what we're going to do now is just
Might have to
this
able
was
to
actually
hear.
we just built this one in December, but this is one of our test units, so we're not going to have to worry about anything. Try to take care of our stuff down there.
I want to make sure that you can hear you.
Should I mute mine?
Maybe move that one up a little bit.
I'll try and boost
So
it.
what we're going to do now is we're just going to take off the cover screws, and then we're just going to take off the cover itself and then look at the batteries themselves. I think the chair hit it.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws.
Yeah, they're fairly
I was trying to
countersink head screws.
Okay.
So not too much to these and everything, but
By the way, they're quite heavy when they have the batteries loaded in them.
they are quite heavy. And sometimes the case does not want to work.
There
we
you
I'm
go.
like, really? Of all days? it doesn't work today.
It's okay. And I pull in some.
Hey, now when it comes
Again,
to
we
this
don't
part,
rehearse people.
usually you'd have a screwdriver, but I'm like, I didn't want to actually bend up the case
Gotcha.
too much.
There we go. Now it's starting to pop. As you can imagine, these are sealed very tight because when they're put in the cabinet, in the UPS cabinets, or the battery part of the cabinet, they are put in rows next to each other that are very tightly spaced. So the fact that they make them so compact is a big element to it. Yeah, and sealing them. There they go. There's little clips, and that's what he's working on pulling out because there's clips on the side of it.
There we go. So as you see in here, we got 2, 4, 6, 8 batteries.
Okay.
Now the batteries in here can be either 12 7s or 12 9s. Your 7s are your 7 amp hours, your 9 are your 9 amp hours. Now your amp hours are based on how long it's going to run when got a load on it without any power coming into it as far as battery. Now if you notice, there's one long wire connecting negative to the power outlet, and then there's one connected to the positive. And then each of these then are hooked in series to each other. You don't want to hook these in series because when they're in series, you get a collective voltage. Okay. When they're in parallel, you get whatever the voltage is of the battery. Now you get more amperage, but you only get what voltage is from one battery. Right.
Okay.
So think of it as going up and south the old clothesline.
Okay.
Hanging your clothes up outside. If I was to hang them with a hanger, I get more on them, right? Kind of like what I'm doing here. I'm hooking them together.
Right.
Instead of clipping them on, you get less, and you only get, what's available, like one battery. Whereas this is, like I said, collectively is
That
one
makes
voltage,
sense. Right.
Okay.
right? So these are 12 volts. I'm not sure if this is 7 or 9. We'll pull out and take a look at it. But collectively with the 12, you're going to get a 12 at 8. I mean, that's what, 96 volts. You should at least get minimum of 96 volts. Obviously, you're going to get a little bit more. So you would be able to check that and everything. So what I did here is I brought a multimeter that we actually use so we can check. And we also have an adapter that we check for these also. So I'm not sure if you can see. Just going to go in here and collectively,
You could probably show that.
we get 100 volts,
Here we go.
Oh, wow.
which is
okay.
right.
Right on
You know,
target.
you're 12 volt batteries.
Here you go.
And you got 8 batteries. So that's what we usually looking at nominally.
Okay.
Okay. Nominally, when there's no load or anything to them, it's 100 volts. Now
Static,
these,
yeah.
they're not completely charged because these sit, and when I use them for testing, we recharge them. So they just kind of sit, and they'll maybe gain a little bit of a charge once they're utilized again. But sitting there on the shelf, I mean, you're still reading 100 volts is what you're supposed to be reading anyways.
Okay.
So now with
That's
with something like this, with this type of battery module, we have a board in here that actually measures the temperature of the battery. So if the temperature hits a certain level, to keep it from going overboard and then having them swell or anything like that due to heat and something breaking inside the cells, there's a thermistor on the board that will actually break. The thermistor will break itself like a resistor does when there's too much resistance going through it. It'll break, and then it'll shut the battery module down to keep it from overheating so you don't get swollen or broken batteries.
So, like when you use too much power in your breaker flips?
Not somewhat, but this is based on a temperature.
For like a third grade version.
Yeah, for a third. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? You know, I mean.
I have to get the other non-technical people a visual.
Right. So yeah, it's kind of like
that's a
that.
visual.
That one deals with your voltage, but similar concept. This one deals with heat.
It's gone.
And it's gone.
It's too
so
hot.
it shuts it
Got it.
down. So that way the battery don't swell. Because you know when a battery swells, even like in your car, your little 12 volt battery you got in the corner of underneath your hood, if it swells due to temperature or anything, it'll shut off.
Right.
But you don't want it to explode, and that's what
Right.
this little thermistor they have in here is for, is to keep these from
Let me
exploding.
see. I want to see in there. Okay.
So a little board right in here.
Oh, interesting.
And of course,
Okay.
there's a fuse. If there's too much voltage, the fuse will blow like your circuit
Okay.
breakers at
Right.
home, shuts the module off also.
Okay.
So in this case, what we would do is we'd actually just disconnect the positive and the negative, right? Just connect the positive and the negative
Okay.
that come from the power connector, and then you just take out the batteries themselves.
Maybe.
Yeah, you will. They're just more
They're
of a,
tightly.
They
right.
are tight, so usually kind of
Space in
go.
there.
We'll go from one in the middle right here.
And this isn't the normal amount of workspace that he has, so
No,
that
there's a-
doesn't help
Right.
either.
More attached to it, right? So in this case, you just take a battery, pull it from the middle if you can.
Easier said than done.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
Loosen them up
Those
a little
ones seem
bit
a
there.
little looser.
There you
Yay.
go.
So once you
That's
get
the
one
trick.
out, then you can work on the other one. So like I
Sure.
said, these are 12 volt.
Okay.
So yep, these are 12 volt. Yep.
Okay.
So
7 amp.
And this is one of our
7.
batteries that we sell from another manufacturer
Right.
and everything.
Okay.
So it all depends on what the customer orders.
Right. Right.
It depends on what they want inside their module, as long as and that's how we build it. So basically,
do.
you want to connect each of the batteries
To each other.
to each other in series, and then you connect the two ends to the power connector, so you get
Okay.
it collectively from the end,
Right.
and then that's all you do. You basically take them out, put a
Mm-hmm.
new batch in, rewire it, and then once you got it closed up, or even before you
Uh-huh.
close it, test the voltages, close it up, and test it again.
Now,
You
do we test these wires as well that go in between them? Because couldn't that create
It could. I mean,
an issue potentially with
yeah,
that?
you could check them, but if you're checking at the end, your wires are good in between.
Sure.
For the most
Okay.
part, the only thing that goes bad on these are the connectors, and sometimes
Okay.
they can break. But for the most part, they come loose, and you just take a pair of pliers, you clamp them back down to make them tight again.
Okay.
And then they just go onto the terminal, and that's it. There's
Okay.
not much to them. It's a lot of
Right.
labor-intensive work,
To open
and
them up.
everything, especially opening them up,
As
taking
it-
the batteries out, putting new batteries in, putting these in recycle.
You have to have some muscles.
Wiring and doing all that, and
Right.
just constantly lifting and lifting and lifting. Constantly doing that.
Right. Right. I could imagine putting them back into there being tightly spaced. That would be quite the trick of
It can
maneuvering
be
them in there as
like
well.
for example, this one, because you've got the ledge of
right.
the module itself.
Okay.
I put this one in first, and then subsequently build from the outside
That
in.
comes from experience.
And then, of course,
Right.
take it apart, take it from the middle and then to the outside.
Sure.
And everything. But yeah, I mean, as far as these are universal cables that can connect positive and negative, 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 positive, positive, all the terminals.
Now, what is your process if it's coming back and your voltage reading is low? Then do you just pull out individual batteries to try to identify which one?
You don't
is
even
the
have to pull them out.
battery
Just disconnect the cables. All you gotta do is just disconnect all the cables and just go to each battery. So, for example, we'll take one battery here.
Okay.
Should have left this undone, but
Sure. What's up, Nicole?
So on this side, there's a thing.
oh,
Is there a
those
thing here
are
too, or no?
they're just protective plates.
Oh.
It's just protective plates.
I just was curious if there was one in between each one.
No,
But
they're
Just in between the
like
two sets.
they're like a heat shroud.
Okay.
Almost like inside of a power module where you like have a fan shroud that you direct airflow. This actually just helps with absorbing the heat to the metal itself.
Oh.
Okay.
And also it's just another layer of protection in case something leaks out from here. This will somewhat catch it and everything. Plus it kind of keeps a set of 4 and a set of 4
Right.
and everything. So you just basically go in here and you just kind of measure each individual battery. 12.59 volts. You know,
Okay.
these are 12-volt batteries, so that's what you're looking for. If you get down to something that's like once you start getting like down past 11 and a half, I start worrying about the battery starting to go. You know.
Now, with the equipment itself, sorry to interrupt you there. When you have a unit, and we know the units will let us know if a battery module like this is declining, and it'll alert you, right?
It can alert you saying
You
it's
having a battery alarm.
Battery alarm. Sometimes it won't.
Okay.
Because what'll happen is the other battery modules will compensate for this one.
Okay.
This one
Okay.
may be low and it may not show as faulty at the time, right? So it may not show up because the other ones are compensating. But at the same time, if it's not showing, it will actually cause the other batteries to start draining faster.
So you'll
So
see them
the
come
life
down.
cycle on the other batteries will actually start to decrease because you got one bad module. And
Okay.
inside you could have one bad battery.
Right,
for the
that's what I
whole
was
bunch.
thinking.
Yeah,
So
you
the
have one
process.
bad battery, and that's why you look when we get them back or something say they had a battery fault. First thing we check is the voltage correct. If the voltage is correct, then we know all the batteries are functioning. Okay, then at that point we go to the card. Is something on the card itself bad? Is there a connector, broken connector, or did it just not seat well in the unit?
Right, I've
know?
heard of that as well.
So that happens also. If it doesn't sit well in the unit, then you may push it in and think it's all the way, but if there's a certain click or it doesn't feel like if it bounces or something, yeah, you may not get good connection. It can show a fault.
Now, will the equipment, when a battery alarm is taking place, we know there's something wrong with one of the battery modules.
Right.
Okay. Does the unit itself have the ability to tell which battery in a battery module, or just the battery module?
It'll be
in
the
general?
battery module as a whole. It'll
So
tell
it
you what
takes-
slot, what level.
Okay.
It'll tell you, okay, so like an example, and if you've got just a regular PX frame that's got 16 batteries,
Right.
okay, it will, you got level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, right?
Uh-huh.
And it'll say L1, and it goes A, B, C, D,
Okay.
right? So it'll say L1A, L1B.
So you'll know it's
L1C.
that battery
So we'll know it's
module.
it's
Okay.
that particular battery module. It'll actually diagnose it.
But then it takes us to open up that module and test each one to know which battery in particular within the module.
If it's bad, you
If
want to
it's
check
bad.
the voltages, and the voltages are good, then you have something else going on.
Okay,
So at that
got
point, it may not be the actual module; it may be something in the frame
Okay.
where that slot itself has gone bad.
Okay.
Because in the units, there are backplane boards that actually connect to these that go bad. So it may say, "Hey, you got a battery fault," but you pull the battery itself and you put it in another slot, but the fault doesn't follow. So
Okay.
if the fault doesn't follow, then you know your battery module is good. Now you got something wrong with the frame itself.
Right, because
Process of
we've
elimination.
sold
Process of
several
elimination.
of those in the past,
Right.
over the
Exactly.
past.
So you have that happen too. Like, oh, it's a battery. Okay, let's pull it. Let's switch it with a
Backplane.
known good one that's not faulting. And if the fault doesn't, if it faults out automatically in the next slot, okay, now we got a module problem. But if
Right.
it doesn't, and you let it run, and it doesn't fault out, you take that known good one and you put it back in the other one, and it still faults out. Then you know you have a problem with the slot. As far as the unit, the whole unit as itself. Now you got a problem with the slot.
Okay.
Not actually the battery module itself. So that's the one good thing about once you pull these out, if you can move and maneuver it just like you would a power module in a unit, you can move it to different slots to see if the fault follows with it. If it doesn't, then we may have a problem with the module itself. If it doesn't, should I say, then you may have a problem with the whole unit as a whole, as a frame. But if not, then the individual battery module has gone out. And of course, that's what you want to do. Field engineers, hey, they check the voltage, check these. And we actually have a handy little tool that we use here at Gruber that we actually engineered in-house that will actually test this, and it will test the voltage, the thermistor, and the resistance of the module as a whole. So if all three of these readings, we have a little cheat sheet in Battery Depot, they have a cheat sheet to see which, that we don't have to memorize it. And if it's well within the standards, then the module's good to sell. And each one of these is tested each time before.
That's a pretty neat little piece of equipment you have there. This actually has the prongs and the connectors to plug right into the side of the module here. So it just slides right in and then can display what he was talking about. That's really neat. I like that. Very cool. So we also, a lot of what we do is buying these casings back.
Yes.
We will buy these casings from our customers and recycle, repurpose them as well.
Yeah, if you get a core back from a seller or anything like that, or if we go out, like you said, buy it from a customer, buy it eBay, wherever we can buy, empty cases. If batteries are in it, that's what we also do. Is we actually take the old batteries, palletize them, and then we put them back into a company that recycles these for us. So they're not going into the landfills, not going anywhere else. They're actually repurposed, rebuilt to send out, and they get recycled and they get repurposed again.
And then you guys have a testing process that you go through for when we pick these up for testing them. And that's what we've talked about in our prior shows too, is going through that.
And when we do the battery jobs, a lot of the account managers will go ahead and give you the pricing based on sending the casings back, or with the batteries in them as well. And kind of how that process works. Again, this is a me and Janie thing. We get this part. We send the batteries out to you guys, and then our techs come in and they replace the batteries for you. They repalletize the old batteries on a pallet, and we come back and get them a day or two later. That way everything is taken care of and you don't have to be involved at all.
Absolutely. That's ideal.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the idea.
And if you have them laying around, we will arrange to pick them up as well.
Absolutely. Give us a call. Reach out to us. Facebook, Instagram, all the various forms.
Good morning, Instagram.
Nicole's calling card.
I know. We used to have the little phone here, and so we would, good morning, Instagram. Well, that was my job. And now Jesse has masterminded it all into one
platform.
Yes. And so now Instagram joins us at the same time as everybody else.
That's right.
So.
I'm old school. I don't know.
Hey, I'm learning this. Every week I learn something new.
If anybody has any questions and they want to chime in, now's the time. I would encourage that. The fact that we've got this open and available to us we have comments. There we go. Pete Gruber, GPS over 25 years ago pioneered the rebuilding of these BAT modules. They were throwing them in landfills prior. Repurpose, refurbish, rebuild. Wow, that's an interesting concept. I didn't even realize that we were the pioneers of it.
Me either.
That's fantastic.
That's that thinking outside the box Pete likes to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A feather in our cap, the fact that because this is quite a big part of our business model.
Yes.
And what we do is being out there in the field and bringing the cores back and then going through and you guys doing your magic that you do, testing them, and absolutely.
And it saves the custom. And Pete was saying, and I was headed in that direction, Pete. It's definitely way more budget friendly. Because you're reusing the metal and stuff, which is generally more expensive than the batteries. So you're always getting the brand new batteries. You're getting any of the smaller pieces that have to be replaced. Those will be new. And then, but because we're able to use this over and over again, you're able to save I think there's like anywhere from a $400 to a $800 difference depending on which battery module you get.
Absolutely, I've seen that.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
And unfortunately, if we're not recycling them, you do have to buy them new. So if you do have them laying around, please let us know.
It's very advantageous to do that.
Yes. So Pete also said, since we build to order, the product doesn't sit on a shelf aging and declining. And yes, so I've been in the warehouse. I'm going to take Lenny's spotlight for a second. There are casings and he has them very nicely organized. It is you can go in and know exactly where everything is. And there are tons and tons and tons of different casings, different sizes, and they sit there until they're ordered so that we don't take any of the life off the batteries from you guys.
We don't populate them until they're ready to go.
Until they've been ordered.
Right.
That way, again, we're not wasting your batteries.
Yeah, and we keep our batteries fresh. That's a big part of what we do.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Lenny, that one battery pack right there, what would that power up?
This little 12-volt battery?
No, the whole pack. I'm sorry. Just that whole pack.
Pack?
Yeah.
Well, if you have 2 of these, you can actually power on a PX. If you have 2 modules itself. Because the way it was engineered, you need at least 2 batteries to actually power on a unit. Now, if this is an LX, say this is a SiBat 5 for an LX, I only need 1 to power up a whole tower.
Huh.
But for a PX, you actually need 2 modules just to power on the whole unit.
Okay.
And it's part of the way they engineer it, as part of the boot process of turning it on. So you actually have to have a battery pack in order for your backup power systems to actually come on.
Oh, that makes sense. Right.
It doesn't come on. It
Right.
just sits there and is like, oh, okay, And what's amazing, when I was first training doing this, I was like, how come it's not coming on? How come it's not coming on? Learn, and then all of a sudden I get a battery fault. Oh, so
you wanted to have some of these in
you kind of learn, but you learn that you actually have to turn these on.
Okay.
Now, there are models that we have which actually have an on-off switch.
Okay.
And then you have the models like this where it's just
You have to have them in there.
24/7, it's on.
Now,
you just have to have them connected.
Does that need to be taken then into consideration when we are sizing a unit for a customer based on what we are going to be backing up? Because so many of these will need to be used just for the unit itself.
Well, just for the unit itself, you want at least 2 modules, and then there's also what you have on a PX, you have a string of 4, a string of 4. And then on an LX, you have each individual battery module. So you only actually need 1. You don't need actually a string. But in this case, you need at least 2, and then at least for it to function properly, it needs at least 4, which is considered 1 string of battery modules.
Okay.
On the inside, you have a string of batteries, and then you have a string of battery modules inside the unit. So you would need that for exactly how much load, how much backup time they need, and everything else, I mean, does the customer have a backup generator?
All right.
Do they have some type of backup power source that automatically kicks on, or does somebody have to go turn something on? Whatever. That's what's going to determine how many batteries you need, what amp hours you need, and everything, because it's based on what are they using for load, and then how much time do they got before this goes down, and all of a sudden they lose something like a server farm or a data center or something like that that's critical. Government facilities, so that's one thing you always want to look for, is how much load are they having, what are they putting on the machine, and then how much time do they have to get to wherever they need to do, or is it automatic?
Okay,
so that's
that
one
makes
thing
sense.
to always look for.
Nicole needs a couple of these just to run her desk.
Especially in summertime when the air conditioner is a little cold.
This little 12-volt, you might be able to start your car with it. The little battery, you might be able to start your car. It's 12 volts, same thing.
Turn the radio on, your blinkers.
I mean, as long as I have the radio, I'm good. I don't need the rest of the car.
Well, back in growing up in the 80s, born in the 70s, but an 80s kid, I mean, look how many people had batteries that were powering their subwoofers, powering their extra radios, stuff in the cars.
I couldn't afford any of that, so I didn't.
Okay.
You have a battery module, you have a battery pack.
My friends had those, but I couldn't afford them. So.
Yeah. So
Pete, more batteries equal runtime during power outage. Indeed. Yep. Yes. The more batteries you have, the longer period of time you're going to get the spike.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So let's see here. Is there anything else, any other elements that we might want to know about when you go through your process? You open it up, you check for what's parts of it and test the batteries out. Now, if a casing were to come in and it were to have damage to the casing, I would assume that the metal might be compromised.
It could be, but at the most part, I mean, this being steel, it's not going to do too much.
Right.
I mean, what
It's
you're
not like
mostly worried about is there's cracks. Okay, if you have a crack, energy path of least resistance, right? I mean, cracks are broken pieces, but what you really want to look for in this is corrosion. Corrosion is the biggest killer on these because things eat away, things get, especially on these, you want to look for rust.
That's what I was just going to ask.
You want to look for rust because that means, okay, is there high humidity, if they are in a high humidity environment or anything like that? Like I said, you also want to look for acid if there's any leaks from the battery. That's what you're looking for. Rust and acid are the two most common components that's going to damage this metal. For the most part, we can retap a screw. We can redo a thread if it need be. If we need to, we can straighten out the little locking prongs on the case, on the cover itself.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
We can put new screws in. We can straighten things out. But getting rid of corrosion and preventing that corrosion, that's a little bit more intense work to do something like that. To actually get rid of corrosion and then prevent the corrosion from coming back later. That's probably the harder part of the job.
Probably compromise the strength of it as well.
It could, but corrosion, if it's corrosion, you don't want to lead to corrosion elsewhere.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
of course, like I said, look for broken cables or anything like that, or if something's really loose. I mean, that's not loose at all. But I mean, if I tap it and it comes off, then we know we got a loose connector. We'll just go back and tighten it. And if it's broken, we make these in house anyways.
Okay. So I was going to mention that as
Gruber
well.
Communications.
Yes.
So Gruber makes these in house for us, so we don't have to go third party to get anything, and we just walk next door.
I know.
And get them.
That's what's so great about our company. The synergy we have to work together. We can, just walk into another division and assist with completing the work that we need to have done.
When I first started here, people were soldering wires for fans. I'm like, why don't we have company one put the connectors on for us and save me 10 minutes every time?
Right.
10 minutes is a lot.
It is, especially if you got
adds
one
up.
module's got 3 fans in it.
Right.
I just spent half an hour doing fans when if I have somebody put the connector and they do it professionally,
Right.
I'm done.
There you go. That just makes sense.
Makes sense. I
smarter.
cut 30 minutes down to 45 seconds.
That's nice.
Bingo. That's a win.
Pete loves that.
Yeah, that's a win.
So
What do we have up here? Pete Gruber. Lenny looks like a mini-me with the girl behind him. Right?
I'm trying to get the girl behind him part. I mean, I know there's a girl in the picture,
right?
but I'm trying to figure out what that. If there's more to that.
We'll just leave it at
Is that Janie?
I thought the mini was me and Pete.
Right, I thought so too. But it was like the girl part. I'm like,
Let me
who's the
put my
girl?
sunglasses on. I'll be a mini.
Right.
Right?
You can head up to that office.
For a day.
We have some somewhere.
Right.
A whole day?
Then I don't want the headaches after that.
All right, so we're running short on time here.
Yep, let me get this back together.
We need to get moving over to our guest that we
Our
have.
super guest.
Yay! So,
I'm gonna work on getting him on now.
Okay, fantastic.
Jesse's working on finding him.
Getting them linked up to us.
I'm just gonna leave this here. I'll come back.
Oh, that's
for it
fine.
later.
Oh yeah, that's
Perfect.
fine.
Thank you.
Nicole and I will we'll play with it for a little
tinker
bit.
with it.
I'm just kidding.
How do you
He's like, watch out! I'll have you out there helping us.
Exactly. It's like bring your kids to work day.
Right? With Nicole and I loose, then
Then we're in trouble. Now you know. Now you know you're desperate.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you
All
for
right, well,
coming and
thank you
showing
for
us all
joining
this.
us. We appreciate the info, the knowledge. That was a
I'm just gonna.
good.
That's fine. I'll come
Balance
back,
it
come back for everything here
for now.
after a while.
There
That
we
way
go.
I don't mess it up.
All right. Well,
I'm
thank
good
you,
at
Lenny.
that.
We
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
Appreciate you
having
coming.
me.
Now that it's closed up,
Now
we
that I
can
have it all closed up.
okay.
So we gotta have you guys put
Get
your
our
headphones on.
headphones on, and let's move over to
Yes.
our next guest that we have joining us on the show today.
Okay, you know this guest is very special because we are going to put headphones on.
Right. There we go.
Yeah, so we're trying to join right now.
And we have to listen to ourselves. I don't know if I like this.
Scott, hold on.
Thank you, Lenny. We appreciate having you.
We'll
Thank
see
you
in a
so
little bit.
much. We'll see you in a little
We'll see in a little bit at our party.
That's right. We have our 40th celebration party.
Yay.
And look at that.
Hey, we have
Yay.
Highlander.
Hold on 1 sec. I'm still trying to get the audio. Thanks, Lenny.
Whoop.
That's okay. We got a kilt.
All right, let's see.
All right.
Hang on here. We're getting the zoom shot up.
Can the Highlander hear us?
Yes, but we can't hear.
We can't hear
Give
him
me
yet.
1 second.
Almost there. We're working on a little bit of technical difficulties here, team. We'll be right with you.
Do you want to do the plug for the 40th anniversary today?
Absolutely. So today we are having our celebration for our 40th anniversary. And after the show, we're going to do the after the show.
Yes.
And have some video streaming of Nicole and I, our social media team, interviewing everybody out there.
Some of our employees that
Yeah,
haven't
it'll be fun.
been on the show yet.
Hang on
So I
1
encourage
sec.
everybody to watch that.
Okay, so I'm putting it up.
Okay, we're almost there. You can see it coming.
Oh, we just lost him. He left.
Let's see
the-
here. I know a
left
lot of
the
people have
call.
been actually anticipating the show. Several people I've talked to around the campus have said the Highlander is going to actually be on. We're going to get to see the Highlander.
You know what's funny is
It's the wrong mic, Nicole.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
there
That's
you go.
okay.
Move to the other
I
one.
was trying to I put this one on mute and moved it out of the way when Lenny was here. So trying to make it better.
Yeah, you were muted. That's why I was.
Haha. Okay.
So what were you
Surprise.
saying? You were talking about the Highlander.
The Highlander. So he's been like the biggest fan and the longest running fan that I have ever heard of. And he's on our show first.
When?
Just saying.
Right. Just like we're going to get to the 1 million mark first.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
We definitely are.
We'll get there.
We're still
Speaking of-
waiting for him to join. I think, just so you guys know, yesterday during the show, he commented that he started with Gruber on the Power episode 2, I think.
Oh, wow.
Power Show episode 2.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
how long
So
it's been over a
we're
year.
the founding show.
Huh.
Interesting. That's awesome.
I thought he'd been around for
and
literally
then
ever.
Claude and Elvis drew him in.
Right? I thought he'd been around forever and ever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was like 13 months ago, so it was a while ago.
Wow.
I mean, I thought he
So
started
that's
with the
consistent
Roadsters.
over time.
Yes.
That's fantastic. That's exciting. That's good. Now we just build on that and
Keep it going.
start
So,
our community.
speaking
of
of
viewers.
like, share, subscribe,
Is that all of it?
watch.
Share. Yeah.
Comment,
Oh, comment. Yes.
Comment's a big one.
Yeah.
Comment.
talk about it at the dinner table.
So are we waiting for the Highlander? Does he need to?
Yeah, for some reason he
He was
hasn't
in there a
joined the
minute
Zoom
ago.
call. He was in there, but he has disconnected from the Zoom call and hasn't joined back yet. So
Oh, well, Highlander, if you can see us out there, chime back in or reconnect if you can. We saw you for a minute.
We saw your kilt.
Yeah, so we had you up on there for a few minutes, and while we were trying to get set up, somehow it disconnected. Little technical difficulty here.
oh, here we go. Sorry,
So are we back up?
I got a comment from him. Hold on.
Okay. We got a brief
this out of the
preview of
way.
what he
He
looks
said,
like.
just kidding.
There we go. Oh, Twin Mom 1492 says, thank you, Lenny. Okay, Highlander says, hi, gang. Connection issues on my part. Oh, okay. I've emailed Jeannie. Photo. I just took in a photo of all my nieces. Hey, when you're giving lemons, make lemonade, right?
Right.
Agreed. Highlander has a slogan that became the mantra here. Kindness is always free. Agreed. And we have forwarded that and continued with it.
We have.
Throughout the day.
And we've really been working on, and I know, like, when we started our show, you know what? If Highlander's not here, I'm not going to listen to myself talk.
I know.
Sorry, Highlander.
I'm with you 1,000%
over
on
on
that
that.
call, Nicole.
Thank you. So when we started and we were introducing everybody to, like, our different employees and the different departments in which everybody worked in, I know that a lot of people said the same thing. It's the that they like about here is the culture, and it's the family feel, and all of those things that we do here.
A big part.
And part of that is, and we are continuing to work on that through Claude. He is, we've had a couple of meetings of, you know, hey, what can we do to work better together? And how can we just keep this family thing going and communicate better and those kind of things, which is great for the customers and also for the employees.
Right.
So that's something that we keep working on. And in with the kindness part, in helping each other out and kind of going out of your way to help people. One of our employees, Christina, who she was on the show.
Yes, she joined us
2 or 3 or something, I think. I can't remember. But she is an order processor, and she also helps Liz, one of our account managers. And she did yesterday during our meeting, brought up an idea about doing a kudos award. Maybe we can call it the Kindness is Always Free Award, or the Highlander Award, where she wants to be able to recognize her peers that go out of their way to help her do her job. And so that's a program that we are working on to get started, to go with all of the kindness thing and the helping each other out and being there for each other and just keeping that family thing going. So
it's a morale booster. It helps everybody. You know, it's
something little,
nice
but it's somebody
in the day to have that.
Okay,
headphone time.
we'll put our headphones back on.
I think he's coming in. Can you hear us?
Testing. Can you hear us, the Highlander?
Coming in hot.
Coming in hot. Yeah.
Now that song's in my head. I will not sing it for y'all though.
So we can see you.
Okay.
I don't think your mic is on though. Your microphone. We can't hear you.
Microphone. Let's see. Hey, there's the kill. That's fantastic. So do we have the camera so the audience can see both of us? Let's see. Are we going back and forth? It looks like.
Okay. Can he hear us? Highlander,
He's got
can
his
you hear
shades
us?
on. No, he can't hear us either. There should be something on your end, the Highlander.
A mic. If
audio, video.
Are you on your cell phone? And we lost the picture.
Yep. So you disconnected. I think he's having connection issues.
Okay.
Okay, it's his connection issues. Okay. Well, we gave it our best shot, guys.
Yeah.
Hey.
We got to see him and see the kilt a little
We got
bit,
a
which is
preview.
cool.
Right. At least we know what he
got the
looks like. We got the new shirts. I said, at least we know what he looks like. But yeah,
Kindness is always free.
we got the slogan. We got it all. We got it all.
Welcome to live TV or live podcast, guys.
Right.
Do you still have the picture of his submarine up there?
I do actually.
Oh, Pete Gruber wants to tell us about the shirt. Well, we do have. We want to talk about. What does it say right here?
The original Highlander apparel.
There we go. And so look that up. Check it out. We can remove our headphones again.
Okay. Good.
We'll go back to that. We'll go back again. It's always free.
Janie and I will be sure to take pictures and
model the
get them
shirts.
on our
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
For everybody. But yesterday, Janie and I came in after lunch, I believe, and there was a nice little surprise from the Highlander, and it was these beautiful pink shirts that we absolutely love. They're super comfortable, too.
They are.
And nice and thin for this very hot weather we're having today.
They work really well for our environment
They
out
do.
here.
And it's a little hotter than we expected it to be today, and it rained yesterday, so it's a little muggier than we would like for our party.
Right.
But we're gonna make lemonade out of lemons, and we're gonna roll with it. And definitely can't wait to have you guys join us and be a part of that with us.
Right.
We've been working really hard on it.
Indeed.
There's a lot of planning that goes to navigating and feeding,
Coordinating
as many people
logistically.
as we have. So we're excited to do that. We have our photo booth, and we'll have a interview station for anybody that wants to interview.
And the most exciting element,
The most exciting part
our time capsule.
is the time capsule. We should have brought it to the show.
Oh my
Why
gosh.
didn't we think about that?
We could have had it sitting here right now.
You know-
Okay, well, the lead up.
Yeah.
There you go. Is that after the show, you'll be able to watch, and our wonderful social media team that has been amazingly flexible and helpful in helping us with these ideas that we come up
You get
with.
to deal with me every day.
Right? And they'll have video of it and our time capsule. And we're going to also have the video after in a few weeks out. When
Once we
Pete
piece
return-
everything together.
Yep. And when Pete returns,
Right,
we'll
and-
do the actual putting it into the ground and the burial of it.
Right.
You know, so we'll have a follow-up to do with
Follow-up,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That'll be fun too.
And if there's anything else out there, please chime in. Otherwise, I think we will be good to go.
Yeah.
What do we have?
Like, share, subscribe. Oh, how many subscribers do we have,
You got a
Jesse?
couple of questions right there.
Oh, we went
question.
through those. Well, except
did.
for the I
Oh.
100% agree with the kudos.
Twin mom.
Twin
Gotcha,
mom.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Otherwise, we got the other one too.
I
Yes,
think that's
so I
it.
think
Let me
we're
double
good.
check.
Again, like, share, subscribe, share,
And we will try this again with the Highlander.
We will. We'll practice next time. We like to do things on the fly. We don't like to.
We had it.
We don't like to
nailed
rehearse.
down, yeah.
Next time we'll rehearse a little bit. And maybe I don't know if he's maybe having weather or something, but we'll see.
That might be
That might
in
be part of it,
Ohio.
too.
They have a
Yeah.
few storms going through there that, I'm big on watching the news every day. I'm a news person.
I haven't watched
yeah.
the news in 20 years.
Yeah, I've got to know what's going on in the world.
It's depressing. I don't want to know what's going on in the
Oh,
world.
I know. I watch it limited, but yes, I understand. Oh, the Highlander. My family and I are humbled to be associated with the Gruber companies. Oh, well, we appreciate having people like you come to us and join our family.
Being loyal,
They're
fans.
family friendly, and for a tiny little startup like us, it's a big deal for my family. Well, we're excited to see you guys launching,
are.
and we absolutely encourage the Googling and looking for the original Highlander apparel.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Everything's backwards.
Absolutely.
I just can't. My brain doesn't compute the right way.
We all want to help
Doesn't.
build each other
Right.
up,
We do.
and that's a
And-
big thing.
Exactly. And Highlander's been such a big supporter of ours, so we definitely want to be a supporter of his and anybody else that is a supporter of ours. We encourage you to check him out as well.
Yeah.
Like, share, and subscribe on his channel also.
Absolutely.
If you could put a link down there,
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll just help each other.
I'm a huge Highlander fan. I used to be back in the 90s. I don't know if you've ever seen the show. There Can Only Be One. That was a big thing for me.
I
so
feel like
the
my
Highlander and I
dad
have that
watched-
connection.
I feel like my dad watched it, but
It was a great series.
By that
oh
time,
my gosh, I was drawn
grown.
in.
I thought I was grown, so I was never home.
Yeah.
Starting in like the 7th grade, I was after school every day. I cheered. I was after school every day. We
Yeah.
spent the whole summer doing stuff. We would cheer camp, whatever. So at that point, I kind of stopped watching TV, except for
It's
on
this
Saturday mornings
whole culture, like
or TGIF. I did watch
Yeah.
TGIF. But
Okay.
that was about it. There wasn't a
No.
whole lot of TV.
That
I was
was
a
a big
music.
part
I
of
still
that.
am a music person. I'd rather sit and listen to records and
Yeah, that's your
when I
thing.
was home, which wasn't very often. So
Yeah.
I missed a lot of things. I remember Quantum Leap.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's about the same time
Highlander
frame.
was right before Quantum Leap. But it was a whole series that, created this whole group
I'm gonna have to go
of
Google
like
it.
culture. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go Google it because I'm pretty sure
was
I
pretty
watched it with my
awesome.
dad occasionally.
When she got into
but-
it
right.
was pretty awesome. It's one of those things that you can binge watching.
When you did the,
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
wait,
there
that
could
looks
only be
familiar.
one.
That
And he
sounds
would go-
very familiar.
And he would go down. I won't get graphic, but anyways, there could only be one at the end.
Lisa did not see the kilt.
Oh, sorry, Lisa.
We'll have to post pictures and
Again,
can you
we're
post a
gonna
picture?
we're
in the
gonna
comments?
try this effort again to bring the Highlander in, and he'll have to bring his kilt in.
Yes.
Again. So,
We will get it posted for you. We'll find a way.
oh yeah, there we go.
Find a way on social media.
We could capture
We
it.
can do it. We can definitely do it.
Yeah. Very good.
All right.
All right. Well, we're going to end this. We're going to
We're gonna
move
head
on
over
to
to the
our
party.
celebration and our party. Tune in, watch for it. We're going to have the after show videos.
Yes. It'll
We're
be our first
excited
time.
about- Yeah.
We, again, would like to do things on the fly and figure it out. So we will be figuring this out as we go today
yeah.
as well. But
That
yeah,
would make it exciting.
It will. So we'll see you in a little bit on the other side of the wall out there with all of our employees and decorations
Colleagues,
and
yeah.
our food and cake. And I'm super excited to see the cake actually because I haven't got to see it yet this morning.
Right.
But yeah, so we'll see you in a little bit. And those of you that have to go back to whatever you're doing and you can't join in, you can watch it a little bit later.
Right.
But have a great weekend, and we
Thanks
will
for tuning
see you in a little bit or
in.
next week.
Thanks for
Right.
watching.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, guys.